Commander Jake Morrison walked slowly into the big round room where all the alien leaders waited. The room was huge with high walls that went up so far he could barely see the top. Blue lights from computer screens made everything glow with a cold light. Around him sat creatures from 12 different worlds, and they all looked very different from each other. Some looked like giant bugs with hard shells and sharp teeth. Others looked like big lizards with thick skin covered in scars. There were also floating things in glass boxes filled with green gas. All of them had one thing in common, though. They all thought humans were weak and stupid. Jake stood in the middle of the room and looked around at all the alien faces staring at him. His uniform was clean and pressed, but his face showed how tired he was. He had been trying to make peace with these creatures for 3 years now. 3 long years of talking and asking them to please stop killing human families. Behind him stood Captain Lisa Hayes. She was his best advisor, and she carried a small computer pad with all the numbers. The numbers of dead humans. The numbers of destroyed homes. The numbers of children who would never grow up because these aliens thought killing was fun. Admiral Ben Carter was there too. He was the top military leader for all of Earth. He stood very still and quiet, but Jake could see his hands were tight fists. Ben wanted to fight these aliens, but Jake had asked him to try talking first. Ben had agreed, but Jake knew his patience was running out. The first alien to speak was tall and thin like a giant ant. His name was something Jake could not say in human words, so everyone just called him the Zephyrian Delegate. When he talked, his mouth parts clicked together, making a sound like breaking sticks. "Why should we listen to you, little human?" he clicked. "Your people have only been in space for 200 years. We have ruled the stars for thousands of years before your world even had cities." Jake took a deep breath. He had heard this same thing many times before. Every alien species thought they were better than humans because they had been in space longer. They thought being old meant being strong. "We are not asking you to bow to us," Jake said in a calm voice. "We are asking you to stop killing our people. Stop attacking our homes. Stop treating human children like they are animals to be hunted." A big lizard creature slammed his clawed hand on the table. This was the Corvin representative. His people were warriors who loved to fight and kill. His skin was green and covered with old battle scars. His teeth were yellow and sharp like knives. "Your people are soft," he growled. "You cry when you should fight. You ask for mercy when you should show strength. This is why you will always be prey and we will always be the hunters." Lisa stepped forward and held up her computer pad. "In the last year alone, you have destroyed 17 human colonies. Over 3 million people are dead. Mothers, fathers, children who did nothing wrong except be born human." The floating thing in the glass box made a sound like metal being scraped with rocks. His name was too long to remember, so everyone called him the Nexari Ambassador. His box was filled with yellow gas that he needed to breathe. "Numbers mean nothing," he said through his voice machine. "Your species feels too much. You love too much. You care too much about individuals. This makes you weak. Strong species think about the group, not about single lives." Jake felt his anger growing, but he kept his voice steady. "We are giving you one final warning. Stop attacking human worlds. Stop killing human families. Make peace with us and we can all share the galaxy." The Zephyrian clicked what sounded like laughter. "Or what, human? What will you do if we say no? Will you cry to the Galactic Council again? Will you send more letters asking us to please be nice?" Other aliens around the room started making their own laughing sounds. Some clicked. Some roared. Some made buzzing noises. They all thought the same thing. Humans were too weak to be a real threat. The Corvin leader bared all his sharp teeth. "Your little ships run away every time they see us coming. Your soldiers surrender before we even land on their worlds. You are not warriors. You are food that learned how to use tools." Jake looked around the room one more time. He had spent 3 years trying to make peace. 3 years of meetings and talks and begging these creatures to just leave human families alone. He had offered them trade deals. He had offered them technology. He had offered them anything they wanted except human lives. None of it had worked. They saw kindness as weakness. They saw mercy as cowardice. They thought humans who did not want to fight were humans who could not fight. Admiral Carter stepped closer to Jake. His voice was so quiet, only Jake could hear him. "They are not going to stop. They think we are afraid to fight back." Jake nodded. He had hoped it would not come to this. Humans did not like war. They did not enjoy killing. They preferred to build things and explore new worlds and make friends with other species. But sometimes other species did not want to be friends. The Nexari ambassador made his scraping sound again. Your species has a fatal flaw, human. You think all life is precious. You think all creatures deserve to live in peace. This galaxy does not work that way. The strong take what they want from the weak. This is natural law. We offered you everything except the right to murder us, Lisa said. Her voice was getting angry now, too. We offered you trade routes. We offered you mining rights. We offered you planets with no human settlements. All we asked was that you stop killing families. The Corvin laughed again. But killing your families is fun. Your people make such interesting sounds when they die. Your children cry for their parents. Your parents try to protect children they cannot save. It is better than any entertainment. That was the moment Jake knew there would be no peace. These creatures did not kill humans for land or resources or anything logical. They killed humans because they enjoyed it. They thought human suffering was amusing. Jake stood up straight and looked each alien leader in the eyes one by one. His voice was very calm, but there was something different about it now. Something cold. I want you all to remember this moment. Remember that we came here in peace. Remember that we tried to find a solution that would let everyone live. Remember that we offered you everything we could except the lives of our people. He turned toward the door. Admiral Carter and Captain Hayes followed him. Before they left, Jake turned back one more time. Remember that we tried diplomacy first. Remember that we gave you every chance to choose peace. And remember that what comes next is because you chose war. The aliens kept laughing as the humans left the station. They thought they had won. They thought they had proven humans were too weak to fight back. They had no idea that deep in secret facilities across human space, projects with names like Ghost Protocol and Hunter Initiative had been running for 10 years. They had no idea that humans had been preparing for this exact situation since the first alien attack on a human world. The galaxy was about to learn why humans were the only species to survive every disaster their homeworld had ever thrown at them. They were about to learn that humans did not like war, but they were very, very good at it. The hunt was about to begin. 3 months passed after the humans left the alien meeting. War Chief Thax the Destroyer was very happy. He was the strongest Corvin warrior, and he had been chosen to lead the attack that would end the human problem forever. His war fleet had over 50 ships filled with thousands of Corvin soldiers who loved to fight and kill. The target was a human colony called New Dakota. It was a farming world where humans grew food for other human planets. The colony had about 50,000 people living there, men and women and children who just wanted to live peaceful lives growing crops and raising families. Thax stood on the bridge of his flagship and looked at the planet below. His yellow eyes gleamed with excitement. His sharp teeth showed in what passed for a smile among his people. This would be easy. Humans always ran away when Corvins came to fight. All ships prepare for landing, he roared to his fleet commanders. Remember to save some humans alive. I want to broadcast their screams across the galaxy so other human worlds know what happens when they refuse to submit to superior species. The Corvin ships landed all around the main human city. Thousands of armored warriors poured out carrying weapons designed to cause maximum pain. They had energy rifles that burned flesh slowly. They had blade weapons that cut but did not kill quickly. They wanted humans to suffer before they died. But something was wrong. The city was empty. All the buildings were still there, but no humans could be found anywhere. The Corvins searched house after house but found nothing. It was like all the people had just disappeared. Find them, Thax ordered his captains. Check the underground areas. Check the forests. They cannot have gone far. What the Corvins did not know was that the humans had left the planet 5 days earlier. Every man, woman, and child had been quietly moved to safety on other worlds. The only humans left were not farmers or families. They were something much more dangerous. Lieutenant Colonel Ryan Cooper watched the alien army from his invisible ship floating high above the planet. His ship was called the USS Phantom, and it was built with technology the aliens had never seen before. It could not be detected by any sensors the aliens had. All Hunter teams report, he whispered into his radio. Hunter Team Alpha ready, came the reply from Major Kate Sullivan. She was hiding in the tunnels under the city with 20 other soldiers. But these were not normal soldiers. They had been changed by human science in ways that made them faster and stronger than regular people. Hunter Team Beta in position, reported Captain Alex Stone from the hills around the city. He had the best human snipers with weapons that could kill from very far away, without making any sound. The soldiers waiting in the tunnels and hills were part of something called Project Nightfall. For 10 years, human scientists had been working to make better soldiers. They gave volunteers special treatments that changed their bodies and minds. These soldiers could see in complete darkness. They could hear sounds from very far away. They could run faster and hit harder than any normal human. The Corvan warriors spread out through the empty city looking for humans to kill. They broke into houses and destroyed everything they found. They were having fun smashing human belongings and making plans for what they would do when they found the hiding families. That was when the real humans struck. Kate Sullivan and her team moved through the underground tunnels like ghosts. They wore special suits that hid their body heat so alien sensors could not find them. They had practiced this attack for months. Every Corvan position had been marked. Every escape route had been planned. The first Corvan squad was checking a school building when Kate's team appeared behind them. The aliens never knew what hit them. The enhanced humans moved so fast they looked like shadows. Their weapons made no sound, but every shot was deadly accurate. Alex Stone and his snipers began picking off Corvan officers from the hills. Their rifles could shoot through alien armor like it was paper. One by one, the Corvan commanders started falling dead without their soldiers even knowing where the shots came from. The aliens tried to call for help, but their communications were being jammed by human technology. They tried to retreat to their ships but found that human soldiers had already disabled the engines while they were searching the city. War Chief Tux realized something was terribly wrong when half his army stopped reporting in. These humans were not running away scared like they were supposed to. These humans were hunting his warriors like animals. All units returned to the landing zone, he roared into his radio. We are under attack by unknown forces. But it was too late. The enhanced humans had surrounded the entire Corvan army. Every time a group of aliens tried to move, they found humans waiting for them. Humans who could see them coming from miles away. Humans who could move through darkness without making any sound. Humans who killed with cold efficiency and then disappeared before reinforcements could arrive. Staff Sergeant Nicole Brooks had been tracking War Chief Thax for 2 hours. Her enhanced senses could follow his scent trail even when he tried to hide. She could hear his heavy breathing and the sound of his clawed feet on the ground. She moved through the buildings like a predator stalking prey. Thax found himself alone in what used to be the human town hall. All his guards were dead. His entire army of 3,000 warriors had been wiped out in less than 3 hours. He could not understand how this had happened. Corvans were the greatest warriors in the galaxy. How could soft, weak humans defeat them so easily? That was when Nicole stepped out of what looked like solid wall. Her suit had been projecting an image of the wall behind her, making her completely invisible. Her eyes glowed softly in the darkness like a cat's eyes. She looked at the alien warrior, who had been bragging about killing human children. Just a few hours earlier, you were warned, she said in a calm, quiet voice. Thaxi tried to raise his weapon, but Nicole moved faster than his eyes could follow. In one smooth motion, she disarmed him and brought him to his knees. The great Corvan warrior, who had destroyed 17 human colonies, found himself helpless before a single human soldier. Your people thought we were weak because we tried to make peace. Nicole continued. You thought mercy meant we could not fight. You thought kindness meant we would not kill. She pulled out a small device and activated it. Suddenly, every communication system across Corvan space received the same signal, the image of their greatest war chief kneeling before a human soldier. Tell your people what you learned here today, Nicole said. Tell them that humans offered you peace and you chose war. Tell them that we tried diplomacy and you chose violence. Tell them that everything that happens now is because you would not stop killing our families. The signal broadcast across the galaxy. Every alien species that had been part of the attacks on human worlds received the same message. The Zephyrians saw it. The Nexari saw it. Every species that had laughed at human warnings saw their greatest ally defeated by the very creatures they thought were helpless prey. War Chief Thax tried to speak, but no words came out. He had spent his entire life believing that might made right. He had believed that the strong could do whatever they wanted to the weak. He had never imagined that the gentle creatures who grew food and raised children could become deadly predators when their families were threatened. Nicole looked down at the broken alien warrior. The hunt has begun, she said simply. Then she ended his life with the same mercy he had shown to human children. None at all. The message spread across the galaxy faster than light-speed communication could carry it. Humanity had fired the first shot in what would become known as the Retribution War, but it was not really the first shot. The aliens had been shooting at human families for years. Now the humans were shooting back. And when humans went to war, they did not just fight. They hunted. They tracked down every enemy with the patience of predators who had evolved on a world where only the smartest and deadliest creatures survived. The aliens had mocked the warning. Now they would face the consequences. The age of treating humans as prey was over. The age of humans as hunters had begun. 6 months had passed since War Chief Thax died on New Dakota. The galaxy was starting to understand that something had changed about the humans. The soft creatures who used to run from fights were now doing something much worse than fighting. They were hunting. Captain Danny Miller sat in the command chair of his ship called the Revenant. His ship was unlike anything the aliens had ever seen before. It made no sound as it moved through space. It gave off no heat that sensors could detect. It was like a ghost ship that could appear anywhere without warning. Danny and his crew were tracking a group of Zephyrian ships through a cloud of space dust called the Kepler Nebula. The insect-like aliens thought they were safe hiding in the thick dust cloud. Their sensors could not see very far, and they believed no human ship could find them there. They were wrong. Contact bearing 27 Mark IV, reported Lieutenant Amy Foster from her sensor station. 3 big cruiser ships and 12 smaller escort vessels. Amy was Danny's sensor officer, and she was very good at her job. The human ships had new technology that could see through dust and gas clouds. Technology that the aliens did not know existed because humans had never used it in the old days, when they tried to make peace. Any civilian ships in the group? Danny asked. This was always the first question human captains asked. The rules were very clear. Only military targets could be attacked. Human anger was cold and controlled, not wild and crazy like alien rage. Negative, sir. All military convoy carrying weapons and supplies to attack human colonies. Danny nodded. That made his job simple. These ships were carrying tools of war to kill human families. That made them valid targets under the new rules of engagement that had been written after the peace talks failed. The Zephyrian ships had no idea they were being hunted. Their commander, Admiral Ixak, was feeling very confident. His ships carried enough firepower to destroy an entire human world. He was planning to attack a farming colony called New Eden, where 200,000 humans lived peaceful lives. That was his first mistake. His second mistake was thinking the dust cloud would hide him from human sensors. His third and final mistake was underestimating what humans could do when they stopped trying to be nice. Danny watched the tactical display as his ship moved closer to the alien convoy. The Revenant was designed for one purpose only, to hunt alien warships and destroy them without being detected. It was built during the 10 years when humans pretended to be weak while actually preparing for war. Weapons ready, reported Chief Gunner Sam Wilson. All torpedo tubes loaded with Mark 7 hunter killers. The Mark 7 hunter killer torpedo was a human weapon that had never been seen in the galaxy before. It was designed specifically to punch through alien armor and shields. Every alien species had different protection systems, and humans had built different weapons to defeat each one. Fire when ready. Danny ordered. 12 torpedoes left the Revenant without making any sound or light that alien sensors could detect. They moved through the dust cloud like invisible death seeking their targets. Each torpedo had a small computer brain that could think and make decisions about the best way to kill its target. The first Zephyrian ship exploded without warning. Admiral Ixak barely had time to order his ships to battle stations before the second ship was torn apart by explosions. The insect commander tried to find the human ship that was attacking him, but his sensors showed nothing but empty space. All ships spread out in search. He clicked frantically into his communicator. Find the human ship and destroy it. But the human ship was already gone. Danny had fired his weapons and immediately moved to a different position. The Revenant was fast and quiet, and by the time the aliens looked for it, the ship was somewhere else. Entirely. Meanwhile, on the other side of the galaxy, another group of humans was carrying out a different kind of mission. Colonel Pete Williams led a team called the Ghost Battalion deep inside Corvin space. These soldiers had volunteered for changes that made them barely human anymore. Pete could survive in the vacuum of space for hours without a suit. His eyes could see heat and movement and electromagnetic fields. His bones were harder than steel and his muscles were stronger than any normal human. He and his team were the ultimate human predators designed for one purpose only. The target was a Corvin weapons factory built inside a huge asteroid. The facility made the energy weapons that Corvin soldiers used to slowly burn human civilians. It was protected by shields and guard ships and thousands of alien soldiers. None of that mattered to the Ghost Battalion. They did not attack like a normal army. They infiltrated like a virus spreading through a body. One by one, they disabled the defenses without triggering any alarms. They moved through the asteroid's tunnels like shadows, killing guards silently and vanishing before bodies could be found. Pete found himself face to face with the factory commander, General Krex, in the main control room. The big lizard alien had been bragging just hours earlier about how many human children his weapons had killed. Now he was alone and helpless as his entire facility burned around him. "Impossible," Krex hissed. "No human can survive in hard vacuum. No human can move through solid rock. What are you?" Pete looked at the alien general with eyes that glowed softly in multiple colors. "We are what you made us," he said in a voice that was somehow both human and not human at the same time. "You wanted to hunt us, so we became better hunters. You wanted to kill us, so we became better killers." General Krex tried to reach for his weapon, but Pete moved faster than thought. In one smooth motion, the human soldier disarmed the alien and brought him to his knees, just like Staff Sergeant Nicole Brooks had done to War Chief Thax months earlier. "Your weapons killed children on New Brisbane," Pete continued. 3,000 human children burned alive by energy weapons made in this factory. This facility will never make another weapon. The factory exploded from the inside as the Ghost Battalion completed their mission. Every piece of equipment was destroyed. Every computer was wiped clean. Every alien worker and guard was dead. The message was clear. Any facility that made weapons to kill human civilians would be eliminated. Admiral Sarah Mitchell watched reports coming in from across the galaxy on her flagship, the UES Retribution. Human hunter teams were striking at alien targets everywhere. Supply convoys disappeared without trace. Weapons factories exploded mysteriously. Military commanders were found dead in supposedly secure locations. "Admiral, we are receiving surrender offers from 12 Nexari colonies," reported her communications officer, Lieutenant Bob Hayes. Sarah looked at the messages with cold eyes. The floating gas-breathing aliens who had laughed at human peace offers were now begging for mercy. They promised to never attack human worlds again. They offered to pay tribute and provide resources and technology. "Send them our response," Sarah ordered. "Humanity does not negotiate with species that murder children. They will receive the same mercy they showed the families on New Brisbane." The human war machine was spreading across the galaxy like a plague designed to target only those who had killed human civilians. Every species that had participated in attacks on human colonies found their military forces being systematically destroyed by an enemy they could not see or fight. The Zephyrians tried hiding their ships in nebulas and dust clouds, but human sensors found them anyway. The Corvins tried building stronger defenses, but human weapons cut through their armor like paper. The Nexari tried using their gas-filled environments as protection, but humans adapted to survive in any environment. Captain Julie Roberts commanded a hunter pack of 5 ships stalking Nexari fleet elements near their home system. Her ships moved in perfect coordination, sharing sensor data and tactical information through quantum communication links that could not be jammed or intercepted. "Target acquired," she reported to Admiral Mitchell. "Nexari battle group heading toward human colony at Tau Ceti. Estimated arrival in 6 days. Intercept and eliminate," came the immediate response. "No survivors. No witnesses. No mercy." Julie smiled grimly as her ships changed course to intercept the alien fleet. The Nexari had made the same mistake as all the other species. They thought humans were weak because humans preferred peace. They thought humans could not fight because humans did not want to fight. Now they were learning the difference between cannot and will not. Humans could fight very well when they chose to. They just preferred not to until their families were threatened. Once that line was crossed, there was no going back. The galaxy was beginning to understand that humans were not just another species. They were something unique. They were predators who had learned to be civilized but who remembered how to hunt when civilization failed to protect their young. The aliens had mocked the warning. They had chosen to continue killing human families even after being asked to stop. Now they faced the consequences of that choice. The hunt continued, and there was nowhere in the galaxy for the guilty to hide. 2 years had passed since the war began, and the galaxy was learning that there was no safe place to hide from human justice. The alien species that had once laughed at human warnings now lived in constant fear. Every shadow could hide a human hunter. Every quiet moment could be the calm before a human attack. Commander Rick Davis moved through the marble corridors of the Zephyrian royal palace, like a ghost made of darkness. The insect species had built their most important building to show off their power and wealth. Golden walls covered with precious stones reached high into the sky. Beautiful artwork from 1,000 conquered worlds decorated every room. None of it would save them now. Rick wore armor that bent light around his body, making him nearly invisible. His team of 12 soldiers followed behind him using the same technology. They had spent 6 months planning this mission. Every guard post had been mapped. Every security system had been studied. Every escape route had been planned. The Zephyrians had thought their homeworld was safe. Zephyr Prime was protected by energy shields that could stop entire fleets. Space stations with massive weapons guarded every approach to the planet. Millions of soldiers patrolled the surface ready to fight any invasion. But humans did not invade like other species. They did not bring fleets and armies to fight pitched battles. They came in small groups like viruses that infected a body from within. By the time the Zephyrians knew humans were on their world, it was already too late. Sergeant Luna Martinez finished placing the last of her special explosives on the shield generator deep under the palace. The Zephyrians had made their shields very strong against ships and energy weapons. They had never thought about humans who could walk through solid matter using phase technology. "Charge is set," Luna whispered into her radio. "Shield generators will be offline in 30 minutes. Rick nodded as he received the message. His team was already inside the throne room where Queen Zizek held court. The insect ruler sat on a chair made from the bones of creatures her people had conquered. Around her stood the greatest Zephyrian nobles and military commanders. They were discussing their latest plan to attack human colonies when Rick stepped out of what appeared to be empty air. His invisibility armor flickered off as he aimed his weapon at the alien queen. Behind him, 11 more humans appeared as if they had materialized from nothing. Queen Zizek's compound eyes went wide with shock and fear. Her mandibles clicked frantically as she tried to call for guards, but Rick's team had already dealt with all the palace security. Every guard was dead. Every communication system was jammed. Every escape route was blocked, Your Majesty, Rick said with mock politeness. Humanity sends its regards. The Queen tried to speak, but her voice box was frozen with terror. This was impossible. No enemy had ever penetrated the royal palace. No force in the galaxy could break through Zephyrian defenses. Yet here stood 12 humans who had walked through her most secure fortress like it was made of paper. Lieutenant Colonel Eva Wright stood beside Rick with a small device in her hand. When she activated it, every communication system in Zephyrian space received the same signal, the image of their queen surrounded by human soldiers in her own throne room. "People of the Zephyrian Empire," Eva said into the device, "your leaders chose to make war on human families. They chose to kill our children and destroy our homes. They were warned to stop. They chose to continue. Now face the consequences." On the other side of the galaxy, similar scenes were playing out across Corvin space. General Tony Baker led his special operations team through the underground bunkers, where the reptilian military commanders thought they were safe. The Corvins had built their command centers deep inside mountains, protected by layers of rock and steel. The humans walked through the rock, like it was air. Tony found Supreme War Leader Grax in his personal command chamber surrounded by dozens of guards. The massive Corvin stood over 8 feet tall with armor-plated skin and claws that could tear through steel. He had personally killed thousands of humans during his raids on colony worlds. "Impossible," Grax roared as Tony appeared in the middle of his secured bunker. "No human technology can penetrate solid rock. No human soldier can survive our weapons." Tony looked up at the giant alien warrior with calm, steady eyes. "You are correct. Normal human technology cannot do these things. Normal human soldiers cannot survive your weapons. But we are not normal humans anymore." The truth was something the aliens were only beginning to understand. Humans had spent 10 years preparing for this war. They had changed themselves in ways that pushed the limits of what biology could accomplish. They had built technology that worked on principles the aliens had never discovered. Most importantly, they had learned patience. Human hunters could wait months or years for the perfect moment to strike. They could plan operations with a level of detail that obsessed alien minds could not match. They could coordinate across vast distances with perfect timing. General Baker's team had been tracking Corvin leadership for 18 months. They knew where every important commander lived. They knew their schedules and their habits and their weaknesses. When the time came to strike, they hit every target simultaneously across the entire Corvan Empire. In one single day, the reptilian species lost their entire military leadership. Every general, every admiral, every war chief, all dead within the same 6-hour period. The message was clear. There was nowhere to hide from human justice. Dr. Helen Park worked in the laboratories where captured alien technology was being studied and improved. She had been one of the scientists who developed the phase shift technology that let human soldiers walk through solid matter. She had also helped create the enhanced humans who could survive in any environment. The psychological impact has exceeded all projections, she reported to Admiral Mitchell. Zephyrian military units are surrendering without fighting. Corvan colonies are abandoning their worlds rather than wait for human hunters to arrive. The Nexari have recalled all their fleets to defend their homeworld. Admiral Mitchell nodded as she read the reports. Fear was a weapon more powerful than any gun or bomb. The aliens had learned that humans could appear anywhere at any time. They had learned that no defense could stop human infiltrators. They had learned that human patience was infinite when it came to hunting those who killed human families. Captain Mike Thompson commanded the human forces surrounding the Nexari homeworld. The gas-breathing aliens had retreated to their most heavily defended system, hoping their environmental suits would protect them from human weapons. They were wrong, again. Human technology had advanced far beyond anything the aliens understood. Humans could now survive in any atmosphere or lack of atmosphere. They could adapt to any temperature or pressure. They could see in any spectrum of light and hear any frequency of sound. The Nexari found human soldiers inside their sealed cities breathing their toxic atmosphere without protection. They found humans swimming through their methane oceans like they were born there. They found humans in their deepest underground shelters walking through rock and metal as if it was not there. Supreme Chancellor Vexus of the Nexari Confederation faced Commander Angela Torres in his private chambers deep beneath the capital city. The alien leader floated in his environmental suit filled with yellow gas that would kill most species in minutes. Angela stood before him breathing the same toxic air without any protection at all. Her lungs had been modified to process any atmosphere. Her blood had been changed to carry different types of gases. Her entire body had been rebuilt to survive in environments that would kill normal humans. "We surrender," Vexus said through his translation device. "We offer complete surrender. We will pay any tribute. We will accept any terms. Just please stop hunting us." Angela looked at the desperate alien leader with eyes that showed no emotion. "Did you offer the children of New Brisbane a chance to surrender? Did you accept tribute from the families on Haven Colony? Did you show mercy to the civilians on Terra Nova?" Vexus's suit shook as he trembled with fear. That was different. They were just humans. Inferior species. "We did not know you could become this." "You knew we were intelligent beings with families and children," Angela replied. "You knew we felt pain and fear and love. You chose to kill us anyway because you thought we could not fight back. You were wrong." The final phase of what historians would call the Headhunter campaign was beginning. Every alien leader who had ordered attacks on human colonies would be found and eliminated. Every military commander who had participated in raids on human worlds would face judgment. Every species that had mocked human warnings would learn the price of their arrogance. The galaxy was about to discover that humans were very good at keeping promises. They had promised peace to those who left human families alone. They had promised justice to those who chose to kill innocent humans. Both promises would be kept. 3 years had passed since Commander Jake Morrison walked out of that alien meeting room. The galaxy was a very different place now. Where once mighty empires had ruled the stars, there were now only scattered survivors living in fear. The species that had laughed at human warnings were learning what it meant to face human justice. Fleet Admiral Grace Nelson stood on the observation deck of humanity's newest space station. The massive structure floated in orbit around what used to be the Corvan capital world. The irony was not lost on her. The station was built from the wreckage of alien warships that had once attacked human colonies. Below her, the planet that had once been home to billions of reptilian warriors was now mostly empty. The few Corvans who remained were farmers and shopkeepers who had never participated in raids on human worlds. The military caste that had gloried in killing human children was extinct. Commander Steve Roberts approached with a datapad containing the final casualty reports. The numbers told the story of a war unlike any the galaxy had ever seen. Humanity had lost nearly 8 million civilians to alien raids over the decades of conflict that led up to the war. In response, they had systematically eliminated over 6 billion alien combatants and their supporters. 47 different species are requesting to join the Human Protection Pact, Steve reported. They are offering tribute technology and complete military cooperation. Grace looked at the long list of species that now sought human protection, rather than face human wrath. These were the same creatures who had once considered humans to be prey animals barely worth noticing. Now they begged to serve under human leadership, rather than risk becoming targets themselves. The transformation of galactic politics had been swift and absolute. Species that had never shown fear of anything now jumped at shadows, thinking every dark corner might hide human hunters. Trade routes that had been controlled by alien empires for thousands of years were now patrolled by human ships that appeared without warning and disappeared just as quickly. Captain Troy Hudson brought news from Earth Central Command. Admiral, we have received formal surrender documents from the remaining Zephyrian colonies. They are requesting permission to continue existing under human oversight. Grace smiled, but there was no warmth in it. The insect species that had once boasted about their 1,000-year empire now survived only because humans allowed it. Their queen was dead. Their military was destroyed. Their proud warrior culture was broken and scattered across distant worlds. Dr. Claire Thompson joined them on the observation deck with her psychological analysis reports. As head of the new Interspecies Relations Council, she had been studying the effects of the war on the surviving alien populations. Her findings were both fascinating and disturbing. The psychological profiles are complete, Admiral, Claire said as she handed over her research. The surviving populations show classic symptoms of species-wide trauma. They have developed what can only be described as an instinctive fear response to humans. Grace read through the reports with interest. Alien children who had never seen a human would still cry when shown pictures of human faces. Adult aliens would freeze with terror when they heard human languages being spoken. Entire populations had developed cultural taboos against doing anything that might anger the mysterious hunters from the small blue world. How long before they recover? Grace asked. Claire shook her head. They may never recover, Admiral. Fear this deep becomes part of a species' genetic memory. We may have changed these civilizations permanently. The truth was that humans had fought this war with a level of strategic planning and tactical precision that the aliens could not comprehend, while the aliens had been focused on individual battles and immediate victories. Humans had been thinking in terms of long-term consequences and permanent solutions. Every human action had been calculated to create maximum psychological impact. The systematic elimination of military leadership had left the aliens leaderless and confused. The demonstration of impossible technologies had convinced them that humans possessed godlike powers. The complete destruction of entire military castes had shown them that resistance was futile. Lieutenant Colonel Maria Santos brought reports from the occupation forces on former alien worlds. Admiral, the transition to human administration is proceeding ahead of schedule. Local populations are cooperating fully with our peacekeeping forces. There have been no incidents of resistance or rebellion. That was perhaps the most telling sign of how completely the aliens had been broken. Species that had fought each other for millennia now worked together under human supervision without complaint. Populations that had once gloried in warfare now focused entirely on farming and crafts and other peaceful pursuits. Admiral Nelson walked to the large window that showed the planet below. Cities that had once been filled with warrior parades and victory celebrations were now quiet places where former soldiers worked in fields and factories. The great weapons foundries that had produced tools of war were now converted to making farming equipment and construction materials. Status report on the Hunter fleet. Grace requested. All Hunter groups report mission complete, came the immediate response. The last confirmed military target was eliminated 6 months ago. There are no remaining hostile forces in any of the former Empire territories. The Hunter fleet had been humanity's answer to alien aggression. Small, fast ships crewed by enhanced humans who could strike anywhere in the galaxy without warning. They had spent 3 years systematically hunting down every alien who had participated in attacks on human colonies. The efficiency had been terrifying even to other humans. Captain Jennifer Walsh commanded one of the last active Hunter ships patrolling the Outer Rim territories. Her job now was not to attack alien targets but to watch for any signs that the broken species might be trying to rebuild their military forces. So far, there had been no such attempts. Contact from Zephyr Prime, Jennifer reported to Admiral Nelson. They are requesting permission to establish a new colony on an uninhabited world in the Beta Quadrant. Approved, Grace responded immediately. As long as they remain non-military and accept human oversight. This was the new reality of galactic politics. Former empires that had once ruled hundreds of worlds now had to ask human permission to establish a single farming colony. Species that had existed for millions of years now survived only because humans chose to let them live. Dr. Emily Rodriguez worked in the classified research facilities where captured alien technologies were being studied and reverse engineered. Her team had made incredible advances by combining human innovation with alien knowledge. The results had pushed human civilization forward by centuries in just a few years. The integration of Nexari atmospheric processors with human terraforming technology has exceeded all projections, Emily reported. We can now make any planet suitable for human life in less than 5 years. This was another consequence of the war that the aliens had not anticipated. By forcing humans to develop advanced military technologies, humanity had accidentally triggered a golden age of scientific advancement. Human colonies were spreading across the galaxy at an unprecedented rate, using technologies captured from their former enemies. Admiral Nelson received the daily status report from across human space. 200 new colonies had been established in the past month. Human population was growing at record rates as families felt safe to have children again. Trade and commerce were flourishing under the protection of the hunter fleet. The species that had once preyed on human families were now the guardians and servants of human expansion. Former Corvan warriors worked as construction crews building human cities. Ex-Zephyrian scientists labored in human research facilities developing new technologies. Surviving Nexari traders carried human goods across the galaxy under human protection. Admiral called Captain Hudson from the communication station. We have a request from the Galactic Council. They want to formally recognize human sovereignty over all former Empire territories. Grace considered the request carefully. The Galactic Council had been neutral during the war, claiming they could not interfere in conflicts between member species. Now they wanted to officially recognize what everyone already knew. Humans had become the dominant power in the galaxy. Tell them we accept their recognition, Grace decided. But remind them that human justice applies to all species equally. Any future attacks on human civilians will be met with the same response regardless of who commits them. The message was clear to every species in the galaxy. The age of alien empires ruling through fear and violence was over. The age of human peace enforced by human strength had begun. Those who chose cooperation would prosper under human protection. Those who chose aggression would face human hunters. As Admiral Nelson watched ships from dozens of alien species dock at the human station, she reflected on how far things had come since that day when Commander Morrison tried to make peace. The aliens had been given every chance to choose a different path. They had chosen war instead of peace. They had chosen cruelty instead of mercy. They had chosen to mock human warnings instead of heeding them. Now they lived with the consequences of those choices. The galaxy would never again underestimate the species from the small blue world that had survived ice ages and asteroid impacts.